Right, let's get straight into it. If you're an environmental health officer, I want you to listen closely. Today, we're going to zoom in. I mean, way in. We're about to explore the invisible world that you protect every single day. And trust me, the scale of what you're responsible for, it's probably bigger than you think.
So let's start with a pretty fundamental question, shall we? When you're out there on a visit, clipboard in hand, what is it that you're really safeguarding? The answer? Well, it might seem obvious at first.
Of course, you're protecting people. You're looking out for the health and safety of the public, the community, the individual person. And you'd be absolutely right. But that's just the big picture. Because the real story is that you're protecting this, a whole universe of tiny, living, functioning units. We're talking trillions of them, packed inside every single person. We are talking about their cells.
And that brings us to the whole point of this explainer, the unseen battlefield. Because, believe it or not, that's where your work really, truly makes its mark.
Think about it. Every single hygiene rating you give, every water sample you test, every piece of advice you offer, it's a direct intervention on a microscopic battleground. You are the external force, protecting an incredibly delicate internal world that is under constant threat.
So, if we're going to defend this place, we first need to get to know our body's fundamental building blocks, right?
And the scale is just, well, it's mind-boggling. We're made of trillions of individual cells. It's a number so huge it's almost impossible to picture, but every single one of them needs a safe environment to do its job. And this is what we're talking about, the eukaryotic cell. These are our cells. Now, these aren't just simple little blobs. They are incredibly complex, highly organized miniature cities. Each one is specialized for a very specific job, and they all have a distinct nucleus, which is basically the control room for the entire operation.
And what's amazing is just how different they all are. You've got red blood cells, which are like the tireless delivery drivers rushing oxygen all over the body. Then you've got nerve cells, the body's high-speed internet, that communication network that controls literally every thought and action.
And then you have these, epithelial cells. You can think of these as your frontline soldiers. They line our gut and our skin, and they form the very first physical barrier against many of the foodborne pathogens you spend your days trying to control.
Okay, so every good story needs a villain. And in our cellular world, that part is often played by the simplest of invaders.
So let's just compare the two sides of this fight. On one hand, you have our eukaryotic cells. Complex, super organized, with all their precious DNA tucked away safely inside a nucleus. And on the other hand, you have prokaryotic cells, like bacteria. They are much, much simpler. No separate nucleus, far less internal stuff going on. And this visual just perfectly captures that dynamic. Our cells are like these intricate, sprawling cities. Prokaryotes, like this bacterium here, they're more like simple, fast, efficient raiding parties. They don't need a complex setup. They just need to get in, cause chaos, and take over.
Okay, so this brings us to the most critical point of contact in this whole battle, the front door, the one and only ultimate gatekeeper. We are talking about the cell membrane, and its job sounds simple, but it is absolutely vital. It's a special layer that controls everything, and I mean everything that goes in and everything that comes out. And here is the perfect way to think about it. The cell membrane, it's the bouncer. Now, as an EHO, your entire job revolves around controlling access and enforcing rules, right? Well, that is precisely what this membrane does 24/7 for every single one of our trillions of cells. And this is what that bouncer looks like up close. It's this beautiful fluid structure, a phospholipid bilayer, with all these proteins and cholesterol molecules embedded in it. Each little piece has a job, whether it's checking IDs, letting nutrients in, or kicking waste out. This border, this is the line you help to defend. So let's pull all this back out. Let's zoom out from the microscopic and look at the most important part of this whole story, your role as the guardian of the cellular world. When you really boil it all down, this is the absolute essence of environmental health. Your job exists to manage the external world, the restaurant, the water supply, the air quality, all to protect the pristine internal environment of these trillions upon trillions of cells. So let's really connect the dots here. When you're doing a hygiene check, what are you doing? You're stopping those bacterial raiding parties from even getting to the front gate. When you're sampling water, you're making sure chemical toxins can't sneak past the cell's bouncer. Pollution control,
That limits damage to the very walls of the city. And food safety? Well, that's the absolute frontline defense, stopping invaders from breaching the walls and hijacking the cell's own machinery for their own purposes.
So the next time you're out there on the job, I want you to just think about this. Is what you're doing really just a routine inspection? Or are you in fact a guardian at the gate, defending an entire universe that's contained within each and every one of us?